bears could eat my porridge.
No,
Bears
no,
den.
that's right. You went to the bear's house.
Sure, it's a bear's den.
I gotta know.
Could the others remind Goldilocks that she should speak slowly?
The bears hadn't locked their front door, so that's permission to eat their porridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't get much porridge anyway. Great Big Bear's porridge was too hot. Middle-sized Bear's bowl was too cold. So I had to eat Tiny Little Bear's, and his bowl was so small. Then I tried to find a comfortable chair to sit in, but Great Big Bear's chair was too hard. Middle-sized Bear's chair was too soft, and Tiny Little Bear's chair collapsed on me. I was getting tired after all this, so I went upstairs to find a bed to rest on. Great Big Bear's bed and Middle-sized Bear's bed weren't right for me, but Baby Bear's tiny bed was perfect, so I got in. I didn't even take my shoes off. King Henry kept saying I was a spoiled little girl and that if I was his child, he would lock me in the tower. The king had a chair in the library that he liked to sit on. It was large, and I suppose it reminded him of his throne. Whenever he found me sitting in it, he got very angry.
That sounds like motive to me.
I didn't know. Hold on, 2 pages. Okay. Should I do my part now? Yeah. After David stops recording.
It stopped.
I am a merchant's daughter. Then my mother died, and my father remarried a widow with 2 grown daughters. Alas, when I met them, they treated me as a slave rather than a stepsister. My stepsisters saw me covered in cinders after cleaning the fireplace, and my name being Ella, they gave me the nickname Cinderella. After working all day on my chores, I often wondered if I would ever be happy again. The ladies of my household were invited to the Duke's ball, but my stepmother said I could not go unless my chores were done. Fortunately, my fairy godmother came to my aid, and, well, you all know the rest of the story. King Henry was fascinated by my glass slippers. I think he thought if I had no slippers, the Duke's son would not find me in my fairy tale, and I would be free to marry him instead.
Whoa.
Pretty scary.
Are you ready yours for Bonnie? Go ahead.
Alright. I was on my way to visit my grandmother when I met the wolf. We chatted about how I was visiting my grandmother, and I told him where she lived. Then he left me, and I went to my grandmother's cottage. When I came inside my grandmother's cottage, I found that she looked very different from her usual self. The big bad wolf locked my grandmother in the cupboard. So I said to the wolf, who was sitting in bed dressed in my grandmother's nightgown, "Why, Granny, what big eyes you have got." And the wolf said, "The better to see you with, my child," imitating her voice. I won't bore you with the rest, as you have probably all heard the story. Most versions of the story end happily, with my being saved from the wolf's clutches by my father and the woodcutters. King Henry and the big bad wolf had a lot in common. They were both men that little girls should stay away from.
Dorothy?
Okay. After I was captured by the flying monkeys and I defeated the Wicked Witch at last, I came back to the wizard, only to find out he had no powers at all. He offered to take me back to Kansas in his balloon, but then he took off without me. Fortunately, someone told me to use my magic slippers. After I returned home, I told my family and friends how there's no place like home. King Henry was the same as a wicked witch, wicked to the core. He had the audacity to tell me to go and play.
Sounds like motive.
Right?
Exactly. I'm Snow White. My stepmother was jealous of my beauty, and she asked a huntsman to do away with me. He took pity on me and let me run away into the forest, and I came to the house of the dwarfs. I ate their porridge. They found me later asleep and asked me to stay and take care of them. But I am not a porridge thief like you, Goldilocks.
Oh, burn!
I only took a little from each bowl as I was perfectly fainting from hunger. And since then I have kept house for them, so I have repaid my debt to them. My stepmother kept looking at the hourglass, saying, "Who is the fairest of all?" And the mirror told her that I was living in the glen. Then my stepmother plotted to get rid of me. She dressed as an old peddler woman and sold me some lace for my waist. Then she laced me up so tight that I lost my breath and fell down dead. Fortunately, the 7 dwarfs soon returned and cut the lace in 2 so I could draw breath again. Phew! The queen knew I wasn't dead because her mirror told her so.
So she came again with a poisoned apple. The dwarfs thought I was dead. A prince saw me and carried me away. The apple fell out of his mouth, and I came back to life, and we married. Oh! King Henry kept trying to get me to marry him, but I refused. So has everybody said their part now?
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
I am
Wow,
Aladdin.
you have pretty bad memory.
I met a mysterious stranger who said he would pay me a silver penny if I went down a manhole for him. I found myself in a large chamber filled with pots of gold. Put out the flame and bring me a lamp, he said. When I hesitated, he left me there, dropping his ring in the chamber as he did so. Terrified, I put the ring on my finger, twisted it round and round. Suddenly the room was flooded with a rosy light, and a great genie with clapped hands appeared on a cloud, and he said he was at my command. I told the genie I wanted to go home, and immediately I found myself there. I told my mother of my adventures. She was a little disappointed I had returned with only an old oil lamp, but she started to polish it and outshot another genie.
Wow.
He said that we had set him free after centuries, and he would be our servant. Things went pretty well after that, and I married a beautiful princess. King Henry was jealous of my having a genie, and even though he was already wealthy, he ordered me to give him to him, but I refused.
A lot of motives here.
Yeah.
Well, come to the table.
No!
Whoa, wait,
Robin Hood. Oh, so
Yes,
sorry.
please don't forget me. I'm a good man.
Yes, you are.
I am Robin Hood. I am a wealthy man, according to many sources, who has been forced to become a thief.
Oh.
I steal from the rich, and I give to the poor. The poor of England were being asked for too many taxes. The taxes were required to fund various political battles overseas. I simply gave back to the poor the money that had been unfairly taken away from them in the first place. Little John and I met on a plank across a river, but he would not let me pass. He was a very portly but strong man. He did not see why he should make way for me, and so we did battle. He used his staff, but I was victorious in our skirmish. Afterwards, he came to know me and to be one of my main supporters.
Alright.
All right. Oh, bring your gold.